You know what time it is? It's hot take time. I hate myself. For our first hot take from Tatis782, he says Francisco Lindor wins National League MVP. Now, I think this is a very interesting debate. It's been all over Xland, Twitterland, whatever the heck you want to call it. Who should be the MVP in the National League? Should it be the great Shohei Ohtani, or should it be Francisco Lindor? Now, with Ohtani, when you take a look at the numbers, when you see what this guy's doing this year, yeah, it's very easy to think he should be the MVP. He's hitting 290, a 375 on base, a 613 slugging, a 167 WRC plus, but he's on pace for yet another historic season. As of right now, he's got 44 home runs and 46 stolen bases. He's on pace for the first ever 50-50 season. If he gets the job done, that is absolutely diabolical. This guy is a madman. I mean, we've seen for years what he can do with the bat and on the mound when he's healthy there, but my goodness, I think people forget how quick this guy is as well. A 50-50 season is just absolutely amazing. If he gets the job done there, I think he will end up winning the MVP. But I think Francisco Lindor has a very good case as well. Now, when you take a look at the offensive numbers, Lindor is definitely behind Ohtani. As you can see here, he's hitting 274, a 343 on base, a 501 slugging, a 137 WRC plus, 30 home runs, as well as 26 stolen bases. I mean, those are very good numbers, but Ohtani is definitely ahead in the game here. But why does Lindor have a good case? Well, as you can see here, he's got a 7.3 Fangraph wins above replacement, while Ohtani has a 6.6. Well, why is that, Robbie? Why does Lindor have the higher Fangraph WAR? Because Lindor is one of the best shortstops in the game. Shortstop, one of the highest value positions in the game. As of right now, he's number 2 overall in Major League Baseball and number 1 in the National League. I think defense is such an underrated aspect of the game. I mean, I don't think people realize how important a good defensive shortstop is in the major leagues, and Lindor being one of the best shortstops in the game, and when you pair that with what he does at the plate, I absolutely think he has a case for the MVP. But hey, we all like the sexy stats, when it comes to what they're doing at the plate. We love the home runs, we love the batting average, we love the slugging percentage. So people, don't really think about the defense very much. Yeah, we all want to see how are we putting runs on the board, but I think also we need to start thinking about too, how are runs being prevented at the same time. It takes a whole profile to win games out there, and Lindor gives you an entire profile. I think that needs to be respected a lot more. When you take a look at Lindor, when it comes to the Fangraph WAR leaderboards, he ranks 4th overall in Major League Baseball right now. Ohtani ranks 7th, and in the National League, Lindor is number 1, Ohtani is number 2. And one other case for Francisco Lindor, I don't think people are taking much notice of, because Ohtani, what he's doing at the plate is just phenomenal. But when you take a look at the second half leaderboards, Francisco Lindor is actually the best offensive player in the National League right now. In the second half, he's hitting 316, a 372 on base, a 595 slugging with 13 homers and 32 RBIs. Now, Ohtani has the 15 home runs, the 23 stolen bases, but when you take a look at the slash line, Lindor leads in all 3 aspects of the slash line. Ohtani's hitting 234 with a 320 on base, a very good slugging at 566, but Lindor overall right now is having the better second half. Ohtani sure has a couple more home runs, but Lindor is doing more offensively in the second half while providing that great defense. Again, I think Ohtani is going to end up winning the MVP. I mean, if he ends up getting a 50-50 season, I think that's just too hard to ignore, and I think the voters will end up voting him for the MVP. But Lindor, man, listen, I think he absolutely has a case to win this award. For the next hot take from Big Fish 1199, he says the Yankees won't be adding Jasson Dominguez to the playoff roster. They're too stubborn to admit defeat. So if you didn't see the news recently that got Yankee fans cheesed off, well, after the rosters expanded for September, the Yankees called up a left-handed hitting outfielder. The only problem was that it was not Jasson Dominguez, it was Duke Ellis. So Yankee fans are wondering, where the heck is Jasson Dominguez? Why is Alex Alex Verdugo, who's having a terrible year, still getting all the playing time. And yeah, Verdugo, he's having a terrible year. He's only hitting 235, a 293 on base, a 359 slugging, and 84 WRC plus. Now, he got off to a good start this year, had a 127 WRC plus in April, but since then, he's been dreadful. 89 in May, 65 in June, 74 in July, 57 in August. So I can totally understand Yankee fans right now. Now, a lot of people were speculating maybe they were trying to preserve Dominguez's rookie eligibility, so that way for next year, if he starts on the major league roster for opening day, ends up winning Rookie of the Year, maybe the Yankees could end up getting a draft pick like the Diamondbacks got with Corbin Carroll and the Mariners got with Julio Rodriguez. Well, the problem is, and Baseball America pointed out, is he has too much service time. Even though he was on the IL, he still has more than 60 days of major league service time, so that doesn't count. So people are starting to wonder, why are the Yankees doing this? Well, first off, the Yankees aren't really an organization that rushes to their prospects. They like to give their veterans as many chances as possible to try and figure things out, and they like to give their prospects as much time as possible down in the minor leagues. Another thing Boone was saying too is that he wants Dominguez to get as many at-bats as he can down in the minor leagues. You know, like I said earlier, he is hitting pretty well in the minor leagues this year. He's hitting 310, a 370 on base, an 870 OPS, over 210 at-bats with 10 home runs, 32 RBIs, and 16 stolen bases. Now, he mentioned that since Dominguez had elbow surgery, also missed time with an oblique injury, he wants to give him as many at-bats as possible, but I don't know. In my opinion, these numbers are looking pretty good. So the question is, who should be getting the playing time? Should it be Alex Verdugo or should it be Jasson Dominguez? Well, as of right now, the Yankees are 80 and 60. They're half a game back in the American League East behind the Orioles with 22 games remaining. Over the last 7 games, the Yankees offense has been pretty middle of the road. They're 16th overall. For me personally, I would go with Jasson Dominguez. I think he's going to give this lineup a bit more life, not just with the bat. I know Verdugo has been hitting well lately, but I think what Dominguez gives you is he's going to give you some more speed as well as a chance for some additional power. Now, we all saw what he did last year against Justin Verlander in his first at-bat, hitting a home run off him, absolutely bonkers. And already this year in 210 ABs, he's got 10 home runs. I mean, I think Dominguez would just bring more life into this lineup. Now, I say roll with Verdugo a little longer, but, you know, keep that leash really short. Now, if he starts to slump a little bit, I say right away, go to Jasson Dominguez. For our next hot take from 3-0 Greenlight, he says pitching and defense will win the Brewers the World Series. Now, first off, go check out 3-0 Greenlight's channel. He does great work over there. As for this hot take, I love it. I think it's juicy. As of right now, the Brewers are 81 and 59. He says pitching and defense are going to win them a championship. Well, hey, their pitching has been pretty solid as of late. Over the last 30 days, they're 9th in starting pitching. Fangraph wins above replacement. They're getting great production in this rotation. Savali, he's got himself ironed out over a few clunkers in the beginning of the year. He's been solid in his last 5 starts, 3-0 with an ERA at 2.54. Tobias Myers, one of the more underrated starting pitchers in the game this year. He's been very good. Frankie Montas was not looking good for the Reds after coming over before the trade deadline, but they kind of altered his pitch mix a little bit, and he's been great since coming over. DL Hall had a lot of injuries in the beginning of the year, but he's even looked pretty good in his last couple starts. Colin Rea, he's been pretty steady this year for the most part. And their ace, Freddie Peralta, despite a FIP of 5.23, has an ERA of 3.24, and he's 4-1 over his last 6 starts. But the bullpen has been fantastic. 3rd overall in the last 30 days. These guys have been really stepping up in this bullpen. Devin Williams came back from injury and 8 saves since then. Koenig, Ross, they've been solid. Pyams has been amazing. They're getting a lot of production out of this bullpen. So yeah, right now they are pitching their butts off. And when it comes to the defense, they're tied for 3rd overall and outs above average. They're a very good team defensively. Now, when it comes to the offense, I am a little worried about the offense without Christian Yelich. He was having an amazing season before his season got cut short due to needing back surgery. But since he went down, the offense has been doing very well. Now, if we take a look here, since the beginning of August, the Brewers offense ranks 4th overall overall in Major League Baseball. They got a lot of guys stepping up in this lineup. Jackson Chourio, he has been amazing. Got off to a bit of a slow start this year, but over his last 31 games, he's hitting .323 with a .390 on base, a .591 slugging, a .167 WRC plus, 7 homers, 25 RBIs, 8 stolen bases. This guy is looking great. Willy Adames is quietly having himself a great season. 12 home runs in his last 32 games. William Contreras, he's been solid this year at the plate. They got some young guys stepping up like Garrett Mitchell, Joey Ortiz, Bryce Terang. I would like to see a bit more from Rhys Hoskins. 5 home runs over his last 28 games, but the slash line, that definitely could be improved here. A 66 WRC plus. Would like to see a little bit more out of some other guys like Sal Frelick as well. But for the most part, these guys are holding it down. When it comes to the postseason, though, they're really going to have to step it up. Now, when it comes to the Brewers' chances in the postseason, listen, if they can keep this momentum going, if they can keep getting the good production from their rotation and then get it to that nasty bullpen, I definitely think they have a chance. And like I said, the offense, they're going to have to step it up without Christian Yelich, but I definitely would not count out this Brewers team in the postseason. For the next hot take from 5-Star Fortnite, Jackson Merrill wins Rookie of the Year. Now, all year, it has been the Paul Skeens show. This guy has been amazing this year. 19 starts in his rookie season, ERA at a 2.13, FIP at a 2.76, 11.2 strikeouts per 9, 2.3 walks per 9, under a home run per 9. These are stupid numbers for a rookie. Paul Skeens, this guy is going to be electric for years to come. But my goodness, Jackson Merrill has come on strong here in the second half. This guy's having a phenomenal season as well, hitting .294, on base at a .326, and a slugging of .502 with a .130 WRC plus. Has a 4.4 Fangraph wins above replacement compared to Skeens at 3.3. Now, another thing to point out with Jackson Merrill is how well he's hit in the second half. In the second half here, he ranks 9th overall in Major League Baseball in WRC plus. Over 41 games in the second half, he's hitting .329, the .357 on base, a .645 slugging, and a .173 WRC plus with 10 homers, 36 RBIs. Had a walk-off homer in there as well. Jackson Merrill has been huge for the Padres down the stretch. I mean, for me, if I'm the guy picking, I would go with Jackson Merrill, to be completely honest. He has really stepped up here in the second half. Now, I would not be surprised at all if Paul Skeens wins the Rookie of the Year. He kind of has that attraction to him. He has that star power, right? So again, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the voters give the award to Skeens. For me personally, though, I would go with Jackson Merrill. And for the last hot take from Nathan Nosler, 9899. And speaking of the Pirates, he says the Pirates need to fire Ben Cherington before Derek Shelton. Now, as a Red Sox fan, I experienced Ben Cherington for quite a few years there. They won the World Series in 2013 with him. But I think this one is really interesting. Now, the Pirates got off to a pretty fun start this year, but they completely fell off in the second half. 65-74 in last place in the NL Central right now. Now, when it comes to Derek Shelton, I do think they are going to move on from Derek Shelton. They're starting to enter a competitive window here. They got a lot of young talent, including Paul Skeens, like I just mentioned. You got some good pitching there. You got some good bats that are coming up, right? Nick Gonzalez came up this year, had himself a good year. O'Neal Cruz, he was showing some good things this year. You still got some other players still, you're waiting for them to turn the corner like Henry Davis, but there's a lot of good young talent here with the Pirates. And of course, you still have Brian Reynolds. Now, when it comes to the Pirates, entering this competitive window, I do wonder if they go with another guy. I think, Derek Shelton, they've had him there, through the rebuild, through the tough years. I think they kind of gave him a chance here in the second half, right? They made a couple of trades, right? They brought in a couple of bats like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Brian De La Cruz, and we saw what has happened here with the Pirates. So I feel like Derek Shelton is going to be fired at the end of the season. That's my prediction personally. I don't think Ben Cherington is going to be replaced. I think, with where you're going into with this competitive window, I feel like if there is going to be a scapegoat, it's going to be Derek Shelton. But Ben Sherrington, I think they're going to give him at least probably a couple more years to see what he can do this coming off season. But of course, with Bob Nutting running the show, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there. Let's see how much money they can actually play with this off season. But they got some prospects. If they wanted to make some trades, they could definitely make something happen. But I think Ben Sherrington is going to end up staying. But I think Derek Shelton, they will move on from him. But everyone, that's all I got for this video. Those are the hot takes I decided to go over. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think of these hot takes? What do you think of my thoughts? Give me your own hot takes. But everyone, that's all I got for right now. If you counted the way out, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.